We are standing by as we are waiting to hear from Governor Tim Walz and other law enforcement in the state of Minnesota following the arrest of the suspect in Saturday's early morning shootings of Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses. Right now, let's go to Green Isle, where that suspect was taken into custody earlier this evening. Jason Rantle is there. Jason, what have you learned since you arrived back on the scene?
Yep, well, not a whole lot. We're still waiting for officials to provide that information for us. But just as a reminder, we are near Boelter's home where he was arrested in Green Isle moments ago. We saw several Brooklyn Park police squads leaving the scene here, saw a squad vehicle. No telling whether Boelter was inside that vehicle or not, but definitely a large law enforcement presence that left the scene here just as our cameras turned on right around the 10 o'clock hour. This is a manhunt that lasted over 24 hours. This comes after Boelter's vehicle was found not far from here in Sibley County. So again, according to multiple sources, Boelter is in custody under arrest. We are outside his home where he was said to have been arrested over here. Still awaiting, as Derek, you were saying, word from the governor as far as more details surrounding this arrest. Stay with WCCO for the very latest on this breaking news. Back to you, Derek.
All right, Jason Rantle in Green Isle, thank you. I am joined now by Caroline Cummings. Watched as this is unfolded throughout the evening after talking to lawmakers who were, like many of us, left in the dark of specifically how close were they to tracking down and finding, and then also, getting him to surrender alive tonight.
Right. They are breathing a sigh of relief, and that is because we know from law enforcement that there was a list. We heard from the BCA earlier today. It wasn't so much of as a manifesto as much as a list that included a lot of Democratic lawmakers' names on it, and
throughout the entire state of Minnesota.
And and a lot of them were telling me, whether they were Republicans or Democrats, concerned about their safety. So as long as he was on the loose, this accused killer, they were scared for their safety, and they're breathing a sigh of relief tonight, knowing that he is in custody. What I would like to hear from the governor and officials tonight is, was he acting alone? BCA earlier suggested that they had no reason to believe that he had any accomplices, anybody was helping him.
Yeah, it's just that he had made contact with others.
He had made contact with others, but of course, he had evaded law enforcement for quite some time after he allegedly shot and killed Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, in their home early Saturday morning. A shock to the conscience across the state of Minnesota. We were at the scene earlier, as you saw, where
and I believe this is a live. Is this a live shot now of that scene? No, this is from earlier this evening.
Earlier this evening, and that was in the field near his farm in Sibley County. And we heard from law enforcement earlier talking about how they had found some key clues in that vehicle that helped track him down. And so getting that notice that he is in custody is a very promising sign, and like I said, a sigh of relief for these lawmakers who have been feeling such anguish and sadness and concern, because this didn't feel possible, right? And now we're waiting to learn more about what we can hear from the governor tonight.
And I think that's what's important, is the public safety issue, that people want to go to bed tonight knowing that not only is this man in custody, but they don't believe that there's anyone else that was involved in this situation that might follow up with any sort of attack in the near future.
Right, and we should be clear with viewers at home that we don't know any of those details. That the BCA said earlier, the last time we heard from them around 5:30 this evening, that they had no reason to believe that he was working with anybody. He had made contact, but that he, at this point, all signs point to that he had acted alone. Another thing that Superintendent Evans said earlier today that I thought was striking and important too, because I've seen a lot of speculation about this online, is what are his motives? Why did he do this? What compelled him to do this? And what he said, and I'm going to be paraphrasing here, that I feel that people at home should know, is that everybody wants to look for an easy answer, a quick answer, a fast answer to a complex situation. And obviously, the state is reeling from this tragedy. People want answers. They want to know why. That's the only way
but
we
it's
as
still,
human
it's
beings
going,
make
but
sense
that's
of
going
it.
to take time. That's not an answer that we're going to likely hear from Governor Walz or the BCA or anyone else in this news conference in the next few minutes.
Yeah, it'll be
that's going to
developing.
take a while.
Yes, it will. And we know that Boelter had evaded law enforcement over the last few days. He had changed his clothes into the cowboy hat, that image that we had seen. Maybe we have that image that we can show you here now. And then that striking image that Ramsey County Sheriff's Office shared of him in custody in that field. And I believe that the remarks of the Ramsey County sheriffs were that, you know, he is now in custody and justice can be served. And I think that's what a lot of Minnesotans at home are hoping for this evening. And again, we will learn more about the scope of this plan. We know that he had a list of lawmakers that he was purportedly targeting, and that he began at Senator Hoffman's home in the early hours of Saturday morning, and then made his way to the Hortman household. And it was the gut instinct of the law enforcement officials to go check on her, which I've heard from legislators who are praising law enforcement for their quick thinking to think we should check on the Hortman household.
And this is something that we've also heard, that law enforcement, whenever there's any kind of threat, because day after day, a lot of our viewers don't understand that lawmakers face threats on a regular basis, and it's really hard to determine whether that's a hollow threat or whether it's a serious threat. And any time that a lawmaker has reached out to law enforcement, this was something that Senator Klobuchar told us in our coverage yesterday, that law enforcement has really been a help to them in handling those situations and figuring out how to deal with security in today's environment.
Right. And while I said lawmakers may be breathing a sigh of relief, especially those who may have heard or believe that they are on that list, this conversation is not going away. I had someone put it to me that there will be everything before this assassination of Melissa Hortman and everything after. And there's going to be discussions about security at the state capitol. Right now, you can walk in, there's no metal detectors, there's no single point of entry for the public. And this has really shaken elected officials in a way to their core. We heard earlier in the broadcast, Congresswoman Angie Craig saying leadership was having a discussion with members of Congress in wake of this politically motivated assassination, according to Governor Walz and elected officials, really just reverberating much beyond our state here. And I'm sure the public is anxious to know more details here soon.
You spend a great deal of your working time in St. Paul covering those lawmakers. In the course of the 5 sessions that you've covered, were there ever moments that you questioned the security and the safety of everyone there?
You know, I think in the context of the heightened threats and maybe some of the political rhetoric, and that's what I've heard a lot from lawmakers in the last 48 hours, is just that everybody wants this to be a turning page in our discourse about politics that in so many ways has become very rotten and malicious, and people can hide behind a keyboard and say all sorts of things. So that's always been an awareness, but I think perhaps like many Minnesotans, Minnesota lawmakers included, there's a sense of it can't happen here. And this showed that it can happen here. And in one of the most shocking of ways of acts of political violence that Minnesota certainly has ever seen, but that the country has ever seen. And knowing that a man accused of doing so is now in custody tonight is giving these lawmakers just in what has been a 48 hours of real shock and terror, giving them a sense of in the smallest of ways, security. And the law enforcement officials who acted in the way that they did, it is believed that they probably saved more lives. And that is a remarkable act of heroism.